We are very thankful to you, all of you, for giving us this opportunity to place before you some things on the Kadambas. And the topic is early Kadamba genealogy, chronology, and political history. Now, I have hardly any power but some points, but I want to place them before you through this Excel sheet. Now, there has been a scholarly discussion about the Kadambas since the morning. There are about 10 scholars who have proposed chronologies and genealogies for the Kadambas, early Kadambas. In fact, when in the journey I was working for some chronology, there was a young boy sitting next to me and he asked, "Sir, what are you exactly planning?" And that was really a good question, because genealogy, we in fact, after reading those inscriptions, at some point of time, we in fact fall in trouble whether we are planning something or deducing something, some evidence from the past. So his question was correct. Now, this study is based on 66 inscriptions of the early Kadambas. 6 of them are spurious, and in all there are 18 odd rulers, and about 28 members of the Kadamba families. Now, just like there is hardly any source to the first page of history, similarly there is hardly any source to the first page of the Kadambas. Because Shivaskanda Varma, was he the ruler of the Kadambas? If you ask Gai, whose genealogy is perhaps the latest for now, then he begins it with Veera Sharma. And you see, the first inscription, it says, Kadambanam Raja Shivaskanda Varmana Dattam Dvitiyam Dattavan. So Kadambanam Raja is Prathama, Shivaskanda Varmana is Tritiya. They are different. But the point is that if you take it as Pallava Shivaskanda Varma, then Pallava Shivaskanda Varma's Hirehadagalli plate is there, and it has got a lot many epithets to him. And here this Kadamba king is mentioning just as Kadambanam Raja Shivaskanda Varmana, that's all, without any epithets. It means that he perhaps is the predecessor of this king from the same dynasty. But we don't know how manyth predecessor. So Veera Sharman, again, we would say that Veera Sharman was not certainly the founder of the dynasty, he was the first known ruler, perhaps. Okay. Now, an anonymous brother of Veera has been actually given to Bandhu Sheda in the Gudnapur inscription, as you know. Now, there is an opinion, and I suppose Professor Padigar is also of that opinion, or at least he has some affinity to that opinion, that Shivaskanda Varma was perhaps Mayura Varma only, because Skanda and Mayura, they are quite related. So it was perhaps Mayura Varma who is Shivaskanda Varma and nobody else. There is hardly anything to be mentioned newly about Kanga Varma. But Bhagiratha, the son of Kanga Varma, who is mentioned in the Talagunda inscription, he has been described as Prachanna Janma, Kadamba Kula Prachanna Janma. And it is very difficult rather to interpret what this Prachanna Janma should mean. Then there is a mention of Raghu, of course, the son of Bhagiratha. And then we come to Priyavrata Varma. And the newly discovered Aridalagadda plates, they are very helpful for saying something about Priyavrata Varma. He is a new, in fact, discovery through these plates. Now, The Ardhalagatte plate, it describes Kakustha Yuvarajasya Punya Phalam Ityartham. Now you have seen Raghu and Kakustha Varma Yuvarajasya Punya Phala. So who is this person who is calling Kakustha as Yuvaraja? He must be elder to Kakustha. So perhaps Priyavrata Varma was elder to Kakustha Varma. And then Kakustha Varma mentions himself as Kakustha Yuvaraja in his own plates. So did he actually die as Yuvaraja only, or he had the name Yuvaraja, but he was ruling, he was the king de facto, but he had assumed the name Yuvaraja only. So that remains to be seen. But certainly he ruled. That is there. Now as we come to Shanti Varma, there is a very peculiar actually expression in the Gundapura inscription. Pattatrayarpana virajita charu murte Shri Shanti Varma Drupate. Now Pattatrayarpana. So what we found is most of the scholars, or rather all the scholars, have taken this as wearing three pattas, okay, three uttariyas or something like that. But was there a practice like that for a king? Just like there was a practice of wearing multiple number of yajnapavitas by certain people. So was there a practice of wearing more than one uttariyas or pattas by anybody? I feel, because as you see here, now Priyavrata Varma, the red plus mark, that is Priyavrata Varma. And in the next generation, you come across this Banavasi branch, the Triparvata branch, and also the Uchchangi branch. And we propose that Priyavrata Varma was perhaps the originator, if not in open, he was an originator of the Uchchangi branch in disguise. And there is a chance that Shanti Varma enjoyed power over all the three branches. So that is why Pattatrayarpana, because he was already a ruler of the Banavasi branch. Then he perhaps held some power over the Triparvata branch and also some command over the Uchchangi branch. And then we feel that this Pattatrayarpana and Arpana, so they were given to him. So allegiance was paid to him. That's the idea. That might be the idea behind this expression. Now, the next ruler is Mrugesha Varma, and his wife Prabhavati, she hails from the Kaikeya Mahakula. And this Mrugesha Varma has renewed the grants of Priyavrata and Mandatru Varma. So that's an observation to make. But then you find that in Halasi plates of Ravi Varman, about Shanti Varma it is said, Tasyaiva Jyeshtha Sunuhu Prathita Prithu Yasha Shri Mrugesho Naresha. Now this word Jyeshtha Sunuhu, it actually brings up the possibility of some younger brother of Mrugesha Varman, which is indicated there with that plus mark in yellow. So, and also in the Halasi plate of Mrugesha, Tat Priya Jyeshtha Tanayaha Mrugesha Naradhipa. It means that Mrugesha had a younger brother. Of course, he is anonymous, we don't know who he is. Now, just in order to bring out the opinions of, the major opinions of the scholars about chronology, we have put these three columns. So, Panchamukhi's year of inauguration of that particular king, then Desai and Gopal's year of inauguration of that king, and Gai's year of inauguration of that king. That has been placed there. Of course, we are not going to opine on any of these. We are in no position to do that. Now the next king is Ravi Varman, and his queen Mallige has been mentioned in the Kelagudli inscription. Now, Ravivarman was the son of Kaikeyi Rajaputri, as we have already ascertained. And from the Gudnapura inscription, it seems that he has killed some Vishnu Dasa, and this Vishnu Dasa can be nobody else, we suppose, but this Vishnu Varman. Okay, and he has, and then there are two mentions of that. Halasi plate also mentions that he has killed some Vishnu Varman. Now here the name is given, not Vishnu Dasa, but Vishnu Varman. Of course, in some other inscription, the name of Vishnu Varman occurs as Vishnu Dasa. So Vishnu Dasa and Vishnu Varman both are possibly the same person. And he also killed, Ravi Varman has also killed some Balaraja. We don't know who this Balaraja is. Now the death of Ravi Varman has been marked by the Kavadi plate, because his queen has been described as Pattabhisheka Yuktasa Mukta Vai Ravi Tejasa. So the brightness of Ravi, she has not lost the Tejas of Ravi. That's what the idea perhaps is. In the Honavar plate, his nephew Kaikeya Chitrasena has been mentioned, and we find from the Anaji plate that Kaikeya Shivananda Varma was also killed by Ravi Varma along with along with the defeat of Krishna Varma. Now there are two other people in the dynasty, Bhanu Varma and Shivaratha. We propose, but of course this proposal is very faint. We are yet to make it concrete. And the proposal is that one of them, perhaps Shivaratha, was some way or the other related with Pulinda Varma. Now the last ruler of this Banavasi branch, that is Hari Varma, we find in his Aratalagadde plate the mention of Bhanu Varma and his wife as uncle and aunt. And in the Halasi plate of the 4th year, he mentions Shivaratha. But a remarkable thing is that that inscription has been issued from perhaps Uchcha Shringi. Now, the Sangolli plate of the 8th year of Harivarman, it is issued for Swakula Vruddhi, Swakula Abhivruddhi. And there is no ruler after Harivarman, at least there is no known ruler after Harivarman of the Banavasi branch. And it is quite possible that he had no progeny, and that is why this grant was issued for Swakula Vruddhi. Now when we come to the Triparvata branch, which opens with Krishnavarman the first, and of course, let me tell you, admit very frankly that there are a couple of inscriptions about which a doubt prevails as to whether they should be assigned to Krishnavarman the first or Krishnavarman the second from the same dynasty. But in the Banahalli plates of Krishnavarman, it is said that his wife hailed from the Kaikeya Kula. And the Birur plate, though it is spurious, it is worth considering. It may be said, maybe the details of the donation are false, but these historical details might be correct. That's what we hold in mind. The matter of the Birur spurious plates, it perhaps indicates that Krishnavarma died before Shantivarma. Now the son of Krishnavarman, Vishnu Varman, whose wife came from the Ikshvakus, it is said that he was coronated by Shantivarman, and some scholars have taken this Shantivarma to be some king from the Pallavas. But I think it's not really necessary. This Shantivarma can be the same Shantivarma from the Banavasi branch, and it's quite logical as the historical record would be. But this Shantivarma might have joined hands with some Pallava ruler, because he has also been mentioned as being coronated by a Pallava ruler, Pallavendra Abhishekta. And the Halasi plate, you have Shantivarma and Pallavendra, and in the Bodagere plate, you have only Pallavendra. So had it been only Pallavendra, then Shantivarma would not be mentioned, and in the Pallavas, I suppose there is no ruler like Shantivarma. Now, the next exploit of this Vishnuvarman, there is hardly any exploit mentioned in the inscriptions, but he was perhaps killed by Ravivarman as mentioned earlier. Again, he had a brother, a younger brother perhaps, because the Pervata and Mudagere plates of Vishnuvarman, they mention of Krishnavarman II, they mention Vishnuvarman as the Jeshta Priyatanaya of Krishnavarman. So if Vishnuvarman is the Jeshta Priyatanaya, there must be at least one younger brother to him. Now the next ruler from this branch, Triparvata branch, is Devavarman. He is mentioned as Yuvaraja Devavarman, but the Bennur plate calls Vishnuvarman II, the Bennur plate of Vishnuvarman calls I'm perhaps making a mistake here. The Bennur plate calls Krishnavarman II Krishnavarman II as the Panchama Lokapala. I'm sorry, the mistake is there. It is Krishnavarman II who is called as the Panchama ruler, Panchamo Lokapala. Now Krishnavarman I is the first ruler, Vishnuvarman is the second ruler. Simhavarman, if you omit Devavarman, Simhavarman is the third ruler, and Krishnavarman is the fourth ruler. How can he be the fifth ruler? If Devavarman has ruled, only then Krishnavarman can be the fifth ruler, and that is why there is a chance that Devavarman has ruled. And it is not that only the Vaijayanti people or the Banavasi people used to be aggressive against Triparvata. Even the Triparvata people used to be aggressive against the Banavasi people, and there is a mention in the Bennur plate that Krishnavarman II was on a campaign against Vaijayanti. Vaijayanti Vijayatram Abhiprasthita. So that has been given there. And he is also mentioned as Shri Dosha Rashi. Now, this can be discussed quite well, but let me go further and complete my work for now. Now, Ajavarman, his name only appears in the complete plates. Now, the next ruler, this is a proposal, Ravivarman, Kirukupattur plates of Krishnavarman, they mention the Vidyapana of Ravivarman. Okay, so this his existence is established. Now the Davangere plates, we propose that the Davangere plates should pertain to this Ravivarman, because, and this is the suggestion that comes from my colleague Shri Narayan Hegde. He says that the last line of this inscription, which is altogether in Sanskrit, but the last line is Devara Swami Galge Bhimanojake Dattam. Now the appearance of this last Kannada line, and it is a typical Kannada line, it shows its temporal nearness with the Chalukyas of Badami. And perhaps then this plate Davangere plate of Ravivarma does not pertain to the Ravivarma of the Vaijayanti branch, but to this Ravivarma of the Triparvata branch. That is the proposal. Now Bhogivarma, you see, Bhogivarma is named in the Tagare plates, and the names of Krishnavarman II, Ajavarman, Bhogivarman, and also Vishnuvarman II, they appear in this particular plate. And you see, Vishnuvarma in the Tagare plates is also mentioned as Vidnyapaka, and in Edkar plates there is a Vishnuvarma mentioned, and it is B.R. Gopal who takes it as this Kadamba ruler Vishnuvarma. Now when we come to the Uchangi branch, the Priyavrata Varma is there. Now there is a very big question about Mandatru Varma and also you see the other rulers. Now the point is that this plate, of which provenance is not known, but it is edited by Professor T and Professor Padigar. The scribe is Damodara Datta, and there is a Damodara Datta also who appears in the plates of a second Mandatru Varma. And you see, one of them calls himself, or if you suppose that Mandatru Varma is one, okay, no issue. But he sometimes calls himself as Mandatru Varma, and sometimes he calls himself as Vijay Shiva Mandatru Varma. Now this is a problem. You see, there are at least 3 rulers in the whole Kadamba families who call themselves only with their name, or with Vijay Shiva Mandatru, or with Vijay Shiva, or only Shiva. Okay. So this Mandatru Varma and Vijay Shiva Mandatru Varma, Mrugesha Varma, Vijay Shiva Mrugesha Varma, and Krishna Varma, Vijay Shiva Krishna Varma. And then it becomes difficult to put them as one or many. And why this Vijay Shiva is given, we cannot really ascertain. There is also a Shimoga plate of the Mandatru Varma which calls himself as Mandatru Raja. Now, is he another person, or 1 or 2 or 3 altogether? How many? You cannot really ascertain. That is the question. Now, the Arakalagadde plates, they are assigned to Pulinda Varma, or rather, he has issued them. And you see, they are issued from Vijay Shrungi, so perhaps he belonged to this Uchangi branch. That is the idea. Now there are 2 other rulers. We don't know to which branch they pertain, Madhu Varma and Damodar Varma, and there is Tadagani inscription and Konnur inscription in which they are mentioned. And another ruler, Hangal, Toduva Rashi. And only in the morning we had a small discussion with Mr. Amol Bankar, and Amol Bankar will throw more light on this Toduva Rashi in his paper. So I'm nobody to actually put off the suspense. Okay, so that's how it is. There are more questions than answers, and there are some additions, of course. Let me just tell you, there are some important additions. For instance, this brother of the Bandhushena, then Priyavrata Varma here, then Mrugesha Varman's younger brother, and the existence of more Mandatru Varmas, suspected existence of more Mandatru Varmans, and the number of rulers of the Uchangi branch getting enhanced. So these are the things. Of course, these are not concrete. They can change as the evidence comes. But we are very thankful that we were allowed to, in fact, invited to put this forth to you. And I must mention that Mr. Narayan Hegde has worked extensively on this, though he is sitting at the back, and he's here as modest as he is there in our institute. So, but a major part of the work is his work, and I'm presenting it on behalf of both of us. Thank you very much.